Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas into something you can actually use. Today, we're getting into a really fascinating book, Leadership and Self-Deception, to talk about a problem that pretty much affects all of us, even when we have no idea it's happening.
Okay, just stop and think about that for a second. Picture this. You're in your dream job, first month in, you're psyched, ready to go, and your new boss drops that on you. That's exactly what happens to Tom Callum, the main character in this story.
Now, as crazy as that sounds, that statement isn't just him getting called out. It's actually an invitation. It's the start of a journey to uncover a problem that's so deep, so baked into who we are, that most of us don't even see it in ourselves. So instead of just rattling off a list of everything Tom's doing wrong, his boss, Bud, does something you would never expect. He shares a story about his own failure, a time when he was the one causing all the problems. It's a brilliant way to show what's really going on. See, in Bud's version of the story, he was the hero. He'd left his newborn at home, he was pulling these insane 20-hour days, and he was just feeling totally let down by a team that couldn't even bother to tell him where the pizza was. He felt like he was sacrificing everything, and he was blaming everybody else for all the issues.
But here's the thing. When you step back and look at what he was actually doing, the story completely flips. By hiding himself away 4 floors below everyone else, he wasn't being a hero. He was being a roadblock. He was the one causing the problems, missing critical info, and honestly, putting the whole deal in jeopardy.
And this right here, this is the absolute heart of the matter. It wasn't just that Bud was being unhelpful. The real issue, the much, much bigger one, was that he was completely blind to the fact that he was the problem.
This blindness, well, it has a name. Self-deception. It's exactly what it says on the screen. The problem of not knowing you have a problem. But it's even more than that. It's a state of mind where you're so convinced you're the victim, that you're in the right, that you fight against any proof that says otherwise. You just can't fix something you refuse to see.
Now, to make this whole concept a lot easier to get, the book gives us this really great metaphor. They call this state of self-deception being in the box. And it makes perfect sense, right? When you're literally in a box, you can't see what's really going on. You're cut off, you're closed up, you're basically blind to reality. To show just how destructive this invisible problem can be, Bud brings up this incredible and honestly kind of horrifying story from medical history that just nails the point.
Okay, get this. Back in the 1800s, this was the death rate from something called childbed fever in a hospital run by a guy named Dr. Ignaz Semmelweis. 1 out of every 10 women who gave birth there died. It's just horrific.
So Semmelweis was going nuts trying to figure this out. He tried everything, but the death rate wouldn't budge. And then he had this breakthrough. He realized the doctors, the very people trying to save lives, were unknowingly carrying some kind of germ from the dead bodies they were studying straight to the new mothers. The fix? He made them wash their hands. And just like that, the death rate dropped from 1 in 10 to 1 in 100.
And here it is, the big connection. Self-deception is the organizational germ. It's this invisible poison we all carry around and spread without even knowing it. It's what fuels blame, micromanagement, and a toxic culture. It absolutely destroys teamwork and trust.
Okay, so if self-deception is this invisible germ, how in the world do you figure out if you've got it? Well, it all comes down to something really basic: how you see the other people around you.
Bud gives this simple but honestly perfect example from being on an airplane. One time, he puts his bag on the empty seat next to him, basically seeing every other passenger as a potential threat to his comfort. He is in the box. Then he remembers another flight where a woman saw a couple trying to sit together and just offered up her seat. She was out of the box. She saw them as people, not problems.
This iceberg is such a good way to picture this. The stuff we all see, our behavior, that's just the tip. What really matters is everything happening underneath the surface. That's our way of being. And from that deep place, we're always in one of 2 states. We're either in the box, seeing people as objects, or we're out of the box, seeing them as people.
So this leads to a super important question, especially for anyone who manages people. Does being out of the box just mean you have to be nice all the time? Is it soft? So let's go back to Tom. He remembers this time he had to confront an employee, Joyce, because she erased all his important work off a whiteboard. He was direct, he was firm, he had what you'd call a hard conversation.
He thought he was just doing his job.
But Bud really challenges him here. He says, look, the issue wasn't that you confronted her. The problem was how you were seeing her when you did it. Did you see a person who messed up? Or did you just see an obstacle that made your day harder?
And to really drive this point home, Bud tells a story about the company's legendary founder, Lou Herbert. Lou once called Bud out in front of a whole room of people for not having his work done. I mean, that's an incredibly hard thing to do. But the result wasn't anger or resentment. Bud felt more loyal and committed than ever.
And this table just makes it crystal clear. Check out the difference. You've got two leaders doing the exact same hard behavior. But because Tom was in the box, seeing Joyce as an object, he got resistance. And because Lou was out of the box, seeing Bud as a person, he got cooperation. It's proof that people respond way more to our way of being than to what we actually do. So what this really boils down to is a total shift in how we look at leadership. The real choice isn't, should I be hard or should I be soft? The only choice that matters is, am I in the box or am I out of the box? Because from out of the box, any action you take is going to be more effective.
And that's really the question to leave you with. The last time you had a tough conversation or a disagreement, were you in the box? Were you seeing a person or just an object in your way? Just recognizing that switch in your own head, that's the first and the most powerful step you can take to getting out of the box and changing everything.